What are the top 10 most important ingredients inside every single best-selling romance novel? Today, I'm going to give you that entire list in the most logical order that you need to think of as you are plotting and planning your next romance book. Hi everyone, I'm Lisa, best-selling co-author of the Snow and Her Seven Seals series, and on this channel we talk all about romance writing, specifically for newbie and aspiring romance authors. So if this sounds like you or something you might be interested in, make sure to hit the subscribe button below. I post new videos every Monday. Now, if you saw my other video on the top 15 craft books that I am breaking up with, you'll know that I buy a ton of books on the art of writing, as well as attending a million conferences and taking a gazillion writing courses. And in all of those endeavors to become a better author, I have learned some things about romance, some things about fiction, some things about nonfiction or publishing, but all along the way, I have compiled a list of the 10 things that I think you specifically need to think through if you are writing a romance novel, and what all of the bestsellers have in common. Now, the first thing you need to do is pick a romance subgenre, and I have another video that goes through all the different subgenres of romance, and I will leave a link to that below. And the second thing you need to think about is a romance trope. So how will your two characters get together, or maybe what is going to help them to cross paths or be something that they need to overcome. And while you don't necessarily need a romance trope, I would highly advise you to start out with one because two reasons. One, it's so much easier to describe your book in an elevator pitch to an acquiring editor or a potential literary agent, as well as to readers. But more importantly, it will be a really great way to attract those people to your book. And before you say to me, but Lisa, I have this really great idea that doesn't fit into any particular sort of trope or subgenre, I would advise you to shelve that and wait until you are so popular like Sylvia Day that people simply buy your book because of your name. And until then, just try to go with the flow and fit your book into one of those categories. You can still make it special. You can still put a twist on it. It doesn't mean that your book is going to be like everybody else's, but you are going to be more commercially viable in the market, and you're going to be able to sell books and make money, which thereby will help prolong your author career. Two things that I think are very important. 3 is you are going to have to cast your characters, specifically your hero and your heroine with all the GMCs and everything else, but everybody that should be in your book, you should start thinking about right now. The 4th thing you're going to do is pick a location. Just like with movies, you need a setting, and that means where they're going to hang out, where they live, what office building they're at, or what part of society they're in, what time of year it is, or even what time period it is if you're thinking about writing historical. So that is the 4th step in picking out the elements for your romance novel. And the 5th one is your meet cute. Now, if you've never heard of the meet cute, that simply means when will your two characters, your hero and heroine, meet for the very first time? And the 6th one is what keeps them physically together. Now, this could or could not be related to your trope, and you can look at other novels within that same genre, but there needs to be a reason that they are always physically together because, again, like I said, if they're not physically together all the time, how would they ever fall in love? So I mentioned this in the top 10 mistakes that new romance writers make. And I think sometimes that's because you didn't pick out a trope or you didn't really think through, how they were going to get together, right? So just him asking her out and calling her for dates all the time is great in real life. But in a romance novel, they should have other reasons for getting together other than just romance. Maybe they have competing goals, they work at the same place, they're vying for the same promotion or competing in a contest or something like that. Ton of different ideas, and the tropes will help you to get all of those ideas sparking through your head. The 7th one is what conflict keeps them apart. Typically, this isn't a physical thing as much as it is an emotional reason that they don't get together. So maybe they need to form a business partnership together for financial reasons, but because maybe her ex-boyfriend left her at the altar or stole all of her life savings or she was conned, she has a really hard time trusting people people. So while they are physically close together all the time because of the romance trope you have chosen, maybe she can't really start to love him, like him, fall in love with him because she has these own personal emotional issues. Same thing for him as well. The 8th thing is relationship milestones. So when are they going to do the like stage and then move on to the love stage, all the way to the you're the one stage? So these are important milestones within your book, and you'll want to think about the situations or maybe shared thoughts or conversations that would actually lead the other character to jump to that next level in the relationship. The 9th one, and I do have a video on this all by itself, is heat level. So you're going to have to decide the heat level for your book, as well as when all of those things will happen. Like, when will they hold hands? When will he make it to first base, second base, third base? When will he make it a home run? So all of these things are important. And again, if you're writing sweet romance, they don't necessarily have to do anything except maybe kiss at the very, very end. The 10th and the last step is deciding if this is a happily ever after or a happily for now. And happily ever after usually implies that there will be a marriage proposal, or they're going to get married at the end. Or happily for now just means that they've resolved other issues and they are totally happy just being boyfriend and girlfriend together. So let's recap that list, because this is very specific to romance. I guess casting your character is not so specific, but the first one is picking out a subgenre for your romance. The second one is picking out a romance trope. The third is casting all of your characters and giving them GMCs. The fourth is choosing a location and setting. And the fifth is their meet cute. Their 6th is what keeps them physically together. Their 7th is what conflicts keep them apart. And 8 is the relationship milestones. And 9 is the heat level and when those will happen, as well as 10, which is happily ever after or happily for now. All right, I hope that was helpful. And if you are doing Nanowrimo, which is National Novel Writing Month, that happens in November, and that is simply a movement where a ton of people all over the world just collectively try to write 50,000 words in 1 month. There is a website for it. I believe it's a nonprofit, so it's free to use. You just put your word count in there. There are tons of free blog posts and advice and things that go out. So I would strongly encourage you to sign up for Nanowrimo and at least attempt it. And maybe if 50,000 isn't your goal, you can adjust it and say, I'm going to only do 20,000, because maybe you're taking a 2-week vacation to do an African safari in November. I don't know. Only you know what's going on in November. But if you are doing that, you are probably going to want to do what is called Preptober. And Preptober means in the month of October, you are going to prep for November, because when November comes, you just want to write every day and hit that word count. And in October, if you haven't plotted through this or thought through any of these 10 steps, it's going to be much more difficult to do the 50,000 words once November comes. So I have an amazing and special deal for you. It is called the Nano Kit. If you have any questions, let me know, and I will see you guys next Monday. Bye.